Hello and welcome. I'm Jensen, and today I have a guest that I looked very much forward to introduce. Hey Orlando, you are the developer advocate from PixieBrix, right?
Yes, that's me.
Oh,
Thanks for having me.
that sounds like an awesome job. So all you do is to treat us developers good and make sure we are having a good time. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, I like to help out and get feedback from people and do a lot of awesome stuff in the community.
Nice. And how do you do that?
Well, mainly we have a Slack community that we are doing now. We've just started, and I'm also reachable on GitHub, Twitter. We have a forum, and here at PixieBrix, it's really like a user-centric company. So we take the feedback from our users, or our audience, our community, really to heart, and we try to make like a better product as that feedback comes in, and we try to iterate as quickly as possible so we can release updates and features really quickly to for everyone to enjoy.
Nice. And as you spoke of Slack, I just posted the Slack link in the chat because I find the Slack very awesome. I joined that too, and I can see that you worked hard. Of course, a lot of the other PixieBrix people worked hard as well, but it's a nice place to be, and it's actually if I have a big PixieBrix problem that I want to solve or someone else have, it's a place to go to solve these problems, right?
That's right. It's one of probably the best place to get in touch with the team in a one-to-one situation. So I hope everybody can join us and ask questions. We're
Cool.
also going to post links to the tutorials in Slack. So if you ever want to do this this guided PixieBrix extensions, you can just read those uh, in your spare time. So it's easy to get it started.
Cool. And I asked in the chat where people join from. Can you tell us where you're sitting?
Yeah, of course. I am in Austin, Texas. It's pretty early in the morning right now, but it's a beautiful day today, or at least it looks like it's going to be. I moved here in Austin about 7 years ago. I'm originally from Europe. I used to live in London prior to moving here. And then before that, I was a little bit all over Europe, traveling and working and doing a lot of fun stuff. My name is Orlando, but I mean, I was born in Italy, technically. So when people ask, it's like somewhere around Italy is kind of where I'm from, but I've been traveling. So yeah.
That's nice. But your name sounded Greek to me. Is that do you have some Greek origin as well?
Yeah, yeah. So my dad is Greek. Half of my family is Greek. I never lived long term in Greece. I only go there about a month every year. Even with pandemic, I was able to like sneak into Greece legally, of course, as being partially Greek. That really helps. So it was really nice to be able to go there and go to the sea. I like the warm weather, like I said, so it's natural for me to go back to Europe in the warm sides. But that being said, I also visited a lot of northern parts of Europe, like Copenhagen, where I think you're from, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Um,
with that said, Orlando, can you tell us what you have prepared for us? I think Todd, the other person from PixieBrix, not the other one, there are a lot of persons, but another person from PixieBrix yesterday, he told us, he revealed that you will do some data scraping, but what will he actually do today? Can you?
Sure. Yeah, yeah. So today I'm going to show you three different types of ways to use PixieBrix. The first one will be like autofilling forms automatically on GitHub, but you can apply this methodology to pretty much any website. I will show you a way to highlight certain keywords when you browse the web, and you have some keywords that you want to like bring to your attention immediately without having to search it manually or like reading through like thousands of lines of text. And then the last part is literally data scraping from HTML tables and exporting the data to a CSV file so that you can evaluate the data later on. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. And
Cool.
yeah,
And I promised all the viewers that we can take their questions live. And we
yeah.
have one from Iona Renat. Hey, Iona, and thanks for always being so supportive. Irona says, it is a problem with the Slack channel. I can only join. I can join only with PixieBrix domain. Do you know what that's about? Because I already joined, so I just shared the invite that I got from.
Yeah, I can definitely look into that. It's kind of weird, but I will check it out. Or
We
someone
will.
from the chat can help me. Yeah.
Yeah, and we will make sure that if this link is not working, I got it from Mike, one of the founders, then we will make sure that the correct link will be posted after the session, both in the comments and in the description.
That's right. Thanks for doing that.
And thanks for showing up, and thanks for asking questions. You can just keep the questions coming. I will interrupt Orlando here and there with the nice comments and questions we got.
Yeah. Awesome.
And
Right.
before you joined PixieBrix, have you used PixieBrix before?
Before joining PixieBrix, I haven't used PixieBrix like directly. I've used similar tools in the past, but as soon as I was shown the world of PixieBrix, I was super into it because I love automating things. I'm a big fan of automation and low code, no code tools, and therefore I thought, this is a really great opportunity for me to like work on something I truly love. And here we are, it's been a great journey so far. Yeah.
That's nice. And let's see what you got for us. I'm looking very much forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so today I will start with the Autofill Templates. We call it a tutorial, but it's really like a way for you to build an automation through a PixieBrix extension. So I've already opened the tab here. Here I'm on GitHub. Many of you might be familiar with this, but truly what I'm going to show you is like this form. When you're on GitHub, you have a form where you can submit issues, you can submit questions, you can submit like requests for support, et cetera, and it's very like scary sometimes because you have a good question, but you don't know how to formulate it, or maybe you have like you're submitting a code fix and you don't know what's the best way to submit it so people can consider it and adding it to an open source project. I want to show you how this works, and then I'm gonna go over with you and build it live. So the first thing I'm going to show you is you right click on a page anywhere, you click choose a template, and then you have a drop down here from this model where you have like 3 options. I will show you the first one. It's a pull request, and what is going to happen is I'm going to automatically populate this form with my standard template for pull requests. But in the once you've done the tutorial, you can change the content to be whatever you like, and you can also run this on pretty much any website you want that has a form. So if I go ahead and click the blue button, you will see that it has automatically populated the form with like text, and this is markdown, so when you actually preview it, and it looks really nice, like it looks really nice. And then there you go, you can see how this looks. So the way I've done this is using PixieBrix context menu extension. So let's go ahead and build this. So I'm gonna go, this is how you launch PixieBrix, right? So I can right click anywhere on the page, click inspect, and then navigate to PixieBrix, or you can press F12 on your keyboard and then navigate to PixieBrix, or you can use like whatever Windows or Mac OS or Linux shortcut allows you to open the inspect Chrome developer tools rather. And as you can see here on the extension list, which is this part on the left, you can see I have one called Github Templates. There's like 5 bricks here, and bricks are basically little actions that you can chain up, and they do different things. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna recreate this from scratch, and the way we're gonna do this is by removing this. So the red button here on the right, I'm gonna remove this extension, and then we're gonna build it. All right, so let's go ahead.
And before you start building, Orlando, I will just add that if you want to install PixieBrix, if you want to get this nice setup that Orlando got here, I created a video where I will post a link in the chat that is to get started with PixieBrix, and that will teach you to install PixieBrix, and then you can actually replicate this example that you're making right now after you install PixieBrix, right, Orlando?
That's right. That's
Cool.
true.
Cool. And just go ahead. I'll post a link in the chat to get started with PixieBrix.
Thank you. So I've removed the extension. And now I'm going to add a new one by going here on the extension list panel. And I'm going to add a new extension by clicking this blue button. The one I want is a context menu because I want to be able to right click on the page and I want to be able to trigger the extension running that way. So I'm going to click this blue button. And here I have my first brick, which is what I call a trigger brick. And here it's just like matter of customizing it. So you make sure that, you can give it a name. So here is my GitHub auto form completion. And then here on the title, I can basically give the name for the right click. So like in the menu of Chrome, it's going to ask, it's going to basically get whatever name I pass here as title. So I'm going to do Autofill Template. And then here you have like other options, which I'm not going to touch right now. But what this sites option does, it allows you to run this extension only on GitHub's sub pages, and everything else, it's similar. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a form. So I want when I click this autofill template, which by the way already shows up because that's how PixieBrix works. As I change things, they automatically refresh, is to show a model. So I'm going to open, if you noticed here, I click this blue button to add another PixieBrix brick. So I click it, and then there's a search bar. And then here it's kind of like you need to kind of know the names or type some keywords, and they show up. So show a model is what I'm going to add next, because as you've seen during the demo, this is what I want to do, right? I want to add a model that pops out in the middle of the page with some options that I can choose from. So here we are. As you can see, this part of PixieBrix in the middle is where I configure the brick. And then on the right, I have like a little data panel which has like inputs and outputs and preview of what my form is going to look like for this specific example. Another thing I want you to notice, if you can today, is here in the top right, you have something called output. And this one is named form. And we're going to be using this output key in the next steps. And this is basically where PixieBrix stores the data that you choose as you run the extension. For example, in this specific case, when I select something from the drop-down model, it's going to store the value that I chose inside this variable.
So let me just get this right, Orlando. So this brick produces an output variable that you will later use like several bricks ahead.
That's right. And the way that it produces that output variable is by showing me a drop-down form that I can choose whatever option I put in there, and then the value of that drop-down that I select goes into the output variable. So without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead and customize this. I'm going to give it a nice title, and as I type things here, you can see hello, like it updates here on the right side, which is pretty nice. I can also give the form a description, and I'm just going to call it Github Templates. And then here I have one field only so far, but you can add multiple fields by clicking this plus button. And then as I do that, you can see that it just added a new field here. And I can navigate between the fields here by clicking on the preview panel between the fields or the various elements that I'm adding. And here, field 1, I don't want it, so I'm just going to remove this. Let's stick with example field. So the first thing I'm going to do is give it a label. And for a label, I'm going to call it choose a template type. And then for a description is these are the templates that are available. And the important thing is I don't want it to be a single line of text, because that's where people could just write all kind of text. I want it to be a drop down. So they have defined options. And then for default value, I'm gonna leave it blank, but I could choose one. But really what's important is adding options. So the first option is I want the template to be a pull request, or I want the template to be an issue, right? Like a GitHub issue, or I want it to be something else. With these options, as you can see in real time, I can preview them here, pull request, issue, or other. And these are also the names of the value that will go into this output form, right? So it's gonna be form, and then this is the interesting part. I need to rename the variable that I want to use. So here right now it would be form.example, and then it could be one of these three: pull request, issue, or other. But instead I want to change the name of this key to something else, and I'm gonna call it template. So that way I can reference this brick by using @form.template, and it's gonna give me either pull request, issue, or other, depending on what I've chosen. Okay, now that we've done that, we can already demo it. I'm gonna save it first, and then by clicking this blue button, save, and then right click, autofill template, and you can see that it's already like starting to work. This is the first part, and you can see that you have pull request, issue, or other. And if I press submit, something would happen, but I don't want to submit it yet. I'm not finished with the code.
Orlando,
Yes?
can you? So we built this form right now,
Yep.
and can you show how you activate that on the GitHub again?
Yeah, of course. So I basically go here in GitHub. I right click anywhere on the page. So like here or here works. And there is this PixieBrix icon contextual menu entry. If you click that, that's how you trigger this extension. That's how I did it. And then you can choose something from here. And
I
go
think
ahead.
I think we can only see the browser window, so we couldn't see where you actually right click. But there's a menu where you right click right now, and you can choose PixieBrix, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry.
No
Can you
problem.
see the page editor?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, sweet. Cool. So this is how I did it for the context menu. And now I'm gonna go ahead and actually write the code that will basically enter the text inside this form, right? So to do that, there is a brick called set input value. I'm gonna go ahead and add it. And this one here is basically the brick that's gonna ask me, okay, first of all, it's gonna ask me, where should I input the value? And the second question it's gonna ask me, so to speak, is what is the content that you wanna add? So the first thing I'm gonna do here is add an item. So hitting this blue button, and here I'm giving this option. So the selector is where do I want to put the value? So I'm gonna use this blue button interface to select somewhere on the page. And as you can see, as I browse across the page with my mouse, it's interactive and it automatically selects the best selector for me. So here PixieBrix thinks that input-lg is the best class to reference this field up here where the title is. And then for value, I'm gonna simply specify the first value, which is a title for a pull request, right? And you can customize this to be anything you want.
Sure. And maybe Orlando, I know you are a skilled web developer. Can you tell me and the viewers what this .input.lg, what language is that and where does it come from and what is the selector?
Of course. So a selector is basically a way for, well, I guess JavaScript languages and other languages that interface with like with a web page, with HTML, to basically, it's like tagging, giving a name to a certain element, an HTML element. And you do that when you create a class inside HTML, where it's like class equal and then a name. That's basically the dot. In CSS basically uses dot to reference a class. So here all it's saying is, if you say a class that's called input-lg, then reference that element. Cool. A good way to figure that out is also, if you go to elements, let me save this real fast. Go to elements here in the Chrome DevTools, and then you inspect with this little tool in the top left, the title, and you can see that input has a class, form control, input-lg, input block, input contrast, etc., 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 and also has an ID of issue title. But here, really what's going on is PixieBrix automatically identifies that input-lg, which is like the second value here, is the best way to reference this input field in HTML. So that's what input LG is.
Thanks for a nice explanation.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'm glad you asked that question. It's always good to clarify what I'm doing. So so here I created the set input value brick, and what I'm gonna do is another fancy thing that you can do with PixieBrix is you can change this name of every brick. So as you can see on the left, it says set input value by default, but I want it actually to be set input value title, right? So I do this, and it's gonna basically, like every time I run the extension, it's gonna fill for a title for a pull request. And then I'm gonna show you another trick after I completed these steps to make sure that we're pulling the right stuff into the right field. But before doing that, I want to go ahead and add another brick. And in fact, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna show you another trick. You can copy this brick by clicking the copy brick after I select it, and then I'm gonna paste it here below. And the reason I do that is because it's faster than going in and adding it, et cetera, et cetera. But you can also go the manual way and adding the brick by hand. So in the second brick, I'm gonna call it set input value, and I'm gonna call it comment. So we know that it's gonna set the input value for the comment box. And I'm gonna have to change the selector, right? It's not input-lg anymore. Now it's a text area. And as you can see, PixieBrix automatically selected the text area. And here for the set input value comment, by the way, let's call this pull request as well. So here we go. I want to enter, instead of a title for a pull request, I want to enter the actual body of the pull request template. So it's basically a little bit of markdown. I'm just going to cheat here and copy paste it. And as you can see, PixieBrix retains the formatting, and this is just some markdown. If you're not familiar with markdown, I'm sure Anders can paste a link to like a tutorial for markdown in the chat. It's just a nice way to have text render nicely on the page when it's supported. So
actually, to be honest, Orlando, I usually work with CSVs, so I don't have a nice guide to markdowns. But if you have one, I'll post it after the session in the description or comments.
For sure, yeah. Or someone from PixieBrix team can do that in the chat on my behalf. I'm sure they have a good markdown cheat sheet or tutorial available somewhere.
I will shout to Todd. He's present in the chat. Todd, if you hear this, can you post a nice markdown tutorial to back up this nice demo by Orlando? We will be very happy.
Yes, thank you, Todd. If you can do that, that'd be awesome. So now, as I save this again, you can see that now if I click Autofill Template, and I just realized I made a typo on the context menu. So let me change that. Go back here at the top brick, and I called this, I typed AWT, but it's actually Autofill. So I'm changing this and then saving it, and now it looks like nice. On the right-click menu, which I guess you can't see, but right-click menu, Autofill Template, and then the model comes out, and I have the three options. And now if I click pull request and I click submit, you will see that it has already automatically populated my my boxes here with title and then the body of the comment. And if I preview this, as you can see, like it's already like using Markdown, it looks really nice. But that's not enough because we are doing a drop down. So in the drop down, what you want to do is you want to have multiple options. So you might be wondering, how do I have multiple options in the drop down to actually trigger different types of templates, right? So like, let's do that. So I'm gonna copy the first brick again. I'm gonna paste it, and now here I'm gonna call set input value title for issue. And I'm going to change, instead of being a title for a pull request, it's going to be a title for an issue. And then I'm going to also copy this brick that was set input value comment pull request. So I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to paste it below, and I'm going to call it set input value comment, but for issue. And for issue, I'm still targeting the text area in the same way where I was still targeting the input that dash LG class here. But what I'm really doing is I want to change. This is now the text for the pull request. I don't want the text for the pull request. I want the text for an issue. So a text for an issue looks a little bit different. Usually this is a template that I found around the web to basically that I basically lifted. So full disclosure, this isn't me writing this text out of my brain. Like I didn't come up with this, but so here we are. And now I'm going to show you what this looks like. Actually, no, I'm not going to show you yet because the next part of this tutorial is super important. And the reason I say that is because we're going to actually create the logic to allow you to basically say, if I chose a certain element from the dropdown, only show me the text relevant to that chosen dropdown option. So to do that, it's a thing that we call condition. It's under advanced option in most bricks. You can see here, it's here. You can see on this one, it's here. And on this one as well, is here, condition. So now you might be wondering, how does that work? Why do I have to do this? And the answer is that basically, when you select something from the dropdown, the value, we need to make sure that the value matches what is passed in the condition. And if that condition returns true, then that brick is actually executed. If that condition is false, then that brick is not executed. And
Orlando?
this is a little bit advanced. Yeah,
Orlando, I know I might ask you to repeat something. Can you show me where the condition is exactly in these bricks?
of course. Yeah.
Just
No
to
problem.
repeat, and sorry, I know you said it a couple of times, but just to make sure I
That's okay.
understand.
Excuse me. So under advanced option in most bricks, you have an option called condition. And that what really does, it allows us to determine whether we want to run this brick based on that condition. It's basically a little bit of a logical step. And by logical, I mean like if else, conditional. That's why it's called condition, right? So you need to think in terms of like logic. So how do I make this brick return a true value? Right? And like the way you do that is we use a templating language called nunjux. And basically it looks like that. First, you open the brackets and then you set the value that you want to return. So like here it's true. And then we say we want to return true if and only if the variable form.template, and remember form template was from up here, right? Like in the model or sidebar, in this other brick called show a model or sidebar form, we had form and then we defined template. So I'm going to say true if important to have otherwise PixieBrix doesn't know that it's a variable. So true if form.template equals, and then here we want to do it for pull request. So, and then close the brackets. So now what happens is if I right click on the page and I select pull request, it's gonna enter as a title the value of this brick. So a title for a pull request. And now I'm gonna copy this condition because it's exactly the same for the below one, right? Here in this other brick where I was setting the body of the pull request template, I'm gonna do the same. It's going to return true, and therefore it's going to run this brick only if the form.template variable holds the value called pull request. And a reminder, the value pull request comes from this brick up here called show a model or sidebar form, and it's stored under @form.template, and the option can only be one of these: pull request or issue or other. So with that being said, I'm going to do the same for issues, right? So a title for an issue. So the condition here is pretty much the same, but instead of being equals pull request, it's equals issue. Or what did I set it as? It was the issues with an S? No, it was just issue, like a singular issue. So it's going to return true if the value that I select from the dropdown specified as @form.template equals issue, and not run if I select pull request or if I select other. And I'm going to do this even here because I named this brick. It's very nice when you can name the bricks because I can quickly see without having to read the code that this is the brick for the issue and this is another brick for the issue. So I'm just going to paste it here. All right, we're almost done. If I click save and I close the page editor, and now I'm here on the GitHub page, I right click, and if you can't see it, just trust me on this. I right click, auto-fill template is the option. And I can see here, choose a template type, and I have three options: pull request, issue, or other. If I select pull request, I expect PixieBrix to autofill this title and the comment box with the pull request data that I selected in the template. So let's see if it happens. And there you go, it worked. And now if I do it again and I select issue instead of pull request, it's gonna overwrite the value. Let's see if that happens. There we go, a title for an issue, and this is the issue with like nice checkboxes and other different type of text here. I'm not gonna show you the other block, it's pretty much the same. I would copy the bricks and I would change the conditional and I would change the values that I'm entering, just for sake of time, because I know we're already 30 minutes into this demo. Do you have any question at this point?
And now I have some comments and some questions. I love what you do, Orlando. First of all, thank you for being here. If you out there think Orlando does a great job, give this video a thumbs up. That will improve the reach of this video. We can get PixieBrix out to even more viewers. So give it a thumbs up if you like Orlando. That will really help us all a lot. And Orlando, I have some comments and questions for you. First of all, this channel is all about helping people automating things and giving out tips and tricks, which that's a great job at. I can see you are also using another Chrome extension called Grammarly. Do you enjoy that?
Oh, Grammarly, yeah. I use Grammarly because English isn't my native language. Actually, fun fact, I speak 5 languages. And I think a lot of people in the audience also probably speak multiple languages. So yeah, I think Grammarly is a great extension to make sure that when I type long blog posts or emails, I don't make any typos. Or if I'm unsure about how to write a certain sentence, Grammarly will automatically suggest to me the best way to write that sentence. And it's definitely super useful for when I write tutorials for PixieBrix, but really it works for any kind of input that you write on the web. So yeah, a big shout out to Grammarly.
And then I can shout out to Grammarly as well, and PixieBrix for that matter. But it's nice to add some additional tips and tricks into these streams. So thank you. And these techniques that you're using here, you're using some working a bit with the selectors. You're using some sequential. You're using some logic and sequential flow and all these things. That seems very much the skills that you need to have as an RPA developer, which I know that we are a lot of people on this channel that have this profession. So it seems like it would be an easy tool to learn for us RPA developers. And PixieBrix is free. We found, Todd told us yesterday, and it's totally free. You can just go download it. There will be a guide both in the description and later up in the chat. And back to you, Orlando.
All right. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, you're totally right. PixieBrix is free, and the future of RPA developers is very bright. Whether you're using PixieBrix or some other tools, I think the rewards at the end of the journey after you learn the tools are extremely high, and they really allow you to create amazing automations in your browser and to really leverage the power of these technologies that are becoming more and more popular. So if I wasn't doing my job here at PixieBrix, I'd probably learn some RPA tooling myself for being awesome at my job. So I'm a big fan.
And I can update that if you want help with building PixieBrix flows, say that you want to replicate what Orlando did here or some other more advanced things or simpler things, then you can get a lot of help on the Slack. We mentioned it earlier where the link was not working 100%, but now we got a working link. Todd posted that in the chat a little bit above. That link will work. That will take you to the Slack. You can get community help there. Orlando will be there to help you. He is almost answering in a minute, at least the 2 times I posted my problems there. So a big shout out for the Slack, at least. And back to you, Orlando, again.
Thank you, Anders. Yeah, I try to be as active in the Slack channel as possible. the more people join, the better the community gets, the more answers we can share with each other, we can learn from each other, we might share more tips and tricks. We're also like planning to do like community days where we can like all get to know each other much better. We also want to do like prizes for people that do a hackathon with us, and build really amazing PixieBrix extension, and also just for like being an awesome member of the community. We have t-shirts, etc., etc. So yeah, feel free to drop into Slack, our community Slack, and say hello. It's all about, you know, making sure everyone can help each other, and that's all really there is to it. That's
And
why I love my job.
it
All
sounds like
right.
an awesome job, Orlando, and you're doing good at it. Big kudos to you. And speaking of t-shirt, Orlando got the PixieBrix t-shirt. I already had one, but I wear it yesterday, so it's in the washer. So I had to make another purple shirt today. And
That's right.
and we actually have a question in the chat from Pawan Dev. Hey Pawan, thanks for joining. It's always nice with questions, so keep questions coming in the chat. That'll make a great stream. And that's probably not PixieBrix related, but we can make it PixieBrix related actually. He asks, is it possible to do freelancing with RPA tools? What is future of freelancing in RPA? Yes, it's definitely possible to freelance with RPA. I do it myself, but that's based on my portfolio. I created a portfolio here on YouTube where people can see what I can do, and then I get freelance jobs there. But if we have to turn it towards PixieBrix, and since Orlando is here, Orlando, do you know of PixieBrix jobs and freelance jobs that we can get if we get good at PixieBrix?
That's a great question, because I think that one skill of being, you know, like a process automation developer is being able to use the right tool for the right job. And although we don't yet have a marketplace for PixieBrix, you know, developers, I think if you become part of the community and you become really good at PixieBrix, I think using the tool to be part of your portfolio of tools to use to do that job will become a great addition. And you know, you never know, because people in the community that are joining the PixieBrix community more and more, you know, there's people starting asking questions like, hey, you know, maybe me and someone else should get together and build something awesome, or, you know, maybe someone in there needs some help to figure out certain like larger projects. And therefore, I think, yes, there's totally space for PixieBrix and other RPA tools out there to allow you to become a freelancer or a consultant. So yeah, keep investing time into this set of tools. It's really promising. I truly believe that.
Thank you. And we have another comment from Coding Zoe. Hey, Coding Zoe, thanks for being so supportive always. She says, keep up the great work, guys. Thumbs up. Quick stop for me. I'll catch up on the replay. The last video was great. That was the video yesterday. So thank you, Zoe. And for actually, the great story about Zoe is that she is a nurse from Australia that transitioned into a developer. So and she's always trying these new tools. So I'm sure she will try PixieBrix now as well.
Yeah, welcome to the stream, and yeah, thanks for stopping by and the nice comments. That's very nice of you.
And if I can add, Coding Zoe actually has a YouTube channel herself, so you can find that as well here by clicking her name. And to you, Orlando?
Oh, right. Yes, for sure. So the next thing I'm going to show you now is a way shorter tutorial. Hopefully this goes faster. It's basically a quick, nice way to highlight text into like a forum board, Reddit, a news website, etc., etc. The way this works is it looks for a certain keyword in the HTML, and it uses, again, jQuery selector, not CSS, but jQuery in this one, which is very similar to find certain keywords. And then it nicely applies a layer of yellow to the whole comment. So here is Hacker News. The use case for this one is pretty nice. When you read certain like threads and there's replies, sometimes the replies are from employees that work at a company that's being discussed in the thread. So you want to highlight those because they might have some bias or they might have some really good insight. So what's the best way to find those comments quickly? And again, I'm using this use case, but it can be maybe a keyword that you really enjoy, like RPA. It could be like SaaS, right? Like SaaS, or it can be any keyword you want. So the way I've done this is with a very short extension. I'm right-clicking here on the page, clicking on PixieBrix in the page editor, pops out, and as you can see, there is this one here is a different type of trigger. It's called a page trigger, and I'm going to show you in a second how to do that. And then I'm using the highlight brick, and then I'm using here some selectors to do the heavy work, right? So let's go ahead and delete this extension and then recreate it from scratch so I can guide you through how I did this very quickly. Sounds good?
Yeah, sounds very, very good. Looking forward to
right.
that. I love seeing
right.
these live builds, Orlando. Those are my favorite videos where we can actually get behind the scenes and see how work is done.
For sure, yeah. So I'm gonna remove this this brick all at once by clicking the red button top right and then confirming. And this is nice because it confirms that I want to remove this extension from PixieBrix. And by the way, when you remove an extension from PixieBrix, you can always get it back. It's not like permanently deleted. It's just it takes it out from the current scope of execution, right? Like so, it's not gonna run on this page anymore for the time being. So let's go ahead, remove it, and then go here on the left and add. And what I'm gonna do is a trigger brick, and it's the one here at the bottom. I'm gonna select this, and what this does is I click the blue button, and it basically tells me this trigger, like so, load this extension, run this extension every time there is a page load or when the HTML appears, when someone clicks, etc., etc. There's many options, but we're gonna use page load because we want to load and run this extension every time I browse the page. And this is the domain on which the page load is going to happen, right? Like this event that's being thrown out by the JavaScript engine or the browser engine, rather. So every time I browse a page or a subpage, rather, on news.ycombinator.com, it's going to run the extension, and if it finds something, it's gonna execute it. So the next thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to change the extension name to call it highlight on HN. HN is the short for Hacker News, which is the name of this website. And then I'm going to go here and add a brick underneath. And the brick that I'm looking is the highlight brick. And funny enough, it's the first one that shows up. I'm going to add it. And then this is the brick. Again, I can call this brick like highlight keywords or keyword. And as you can see, notice here, this brick doesn't have any output. So this part is disabled. Unlike the previous tutorial where it was form.template, this one has no output. It just runs something and that's the end of it. So I'm gonna be able to change the color of the highlight. This is hex code for a bright yellow, which is the usual, like highlight color on many tools around the web and on your computer. And then what I really want to do is I want to add an elements here, an array of elements that is going to be used to trigger the highlight, right? And this is very interesting because when I add one, right, I can select from this side here of the menu, I can select to have multiple as an array of items. So if you're familiar with the concept of array, an array is basically when you have more than one, right? You create an array or a list, some people call it. So I'm gonna select it here. So I selected the highlight brick, I scroll down to elements, and then I make sure I add array. And when I click on array, you can see I have this blue button that says add item, because like I said, I can have multiple items within an array. So I'm gonna click the blue button, I'm gonna choose a selector, but because this would take a long time, like maybe a couple of minutes to choose the right selector, I'm just gonna cheat here and I have my notes on my other screen. I'm just gonna copy paste it and I'm gonna explain exactly what this does. So because the whole point of the brick is to highlight when someone says the word disclosure, here what's happening with my elements is what I'm doing here is like I'm trying to look for a span element, and a span element is an HTML element that's called span. It's like a small amount of text. And then I'm going to use the pseudo selector that's called contains. And bear in mind here, I don't know if I can zoom more without breaking everything, but it's got a little colon, right? This little like character here. So that's how you define a pseudo selector. And then it's using the word contains. So every time there's a span that contains the word disclosure spelled like this, or I have a comma here, when there's a span that contains the disclosure all capital, or because I have a comma, every time there's span that contains disclosure lowercase, then this triggers the highlight, right? And because Hacker News is a little bit weird, sometimes it likes to put comments under spans, but sometimes it likes to put comments under divs, which is more familiar to a lot of developers as an HTML element. But I'm doing pretty much the same thing. So I'm saying whether it's a span or a div that contains disclosure spelled in either of these ways, then I want to trigger the extension to run to highlight that comment. Is that making sense so far, Anders?
For sure. Can you make you can make any code to make this case insensitive? You need to have this array with these 3 items in.
That's right. Unfortunately, the contains selector is case sensitive, and therefore I need to like kind of come up with the best ways that people would write disclosure as. And I came up with the 3 options, like normal first letter lowercase, higher case, uppercase, or everything uppercase or everything lowercase. Sure. So now if I let's see, if I save this extension, all right, and then I refresh the page, you can see that it flashes like, first it doesn't highlight it, and then it finds it and it highlights it. And that's how I know that this extension has worked. If I were to change the extension, so to say, maybe instead of disclosure, we're going to say, I don't know, let's say unders, and I paste unders everywhere. And then I save the extension, and then I refresh the page. You will see that the highlights stopped working because now the elements that I'm targeting is not if someone is mentioning disclosure, but rather if someone is writing unders, right? And that's that. I mean, no one will write unders yet, I guess. No one write unders in this thread or has written unders in this thread. So I guess you're safe, unders. No one's gonna highlight it here.
Sorry, Orlando. I can actually see myself using what you built here, but not related to Hacker News. I don't read Hacker News, but maybe I should. But I can see it. I read a lot of job posts, not because I'm looking for a job, but I'm interested in the market. And I usually I have some keywords that find these job posts containing RPA, UiPath, Power Automate, some of the bigger tools that I want to know. And then I'm getting into those job posts, and I want to know exactly where I can find the UiPath or the RPA tool that I wanted to know, and that one I can see work for me, because then I could have highlighted this instead of having to read like 30 lines or something, or scrolling through to 30 lines. So I could definitely see myself building this. So thank you for presenting this, Orlando. And I can see I can see that we have Todd and Iona in the chat. Iona, please tell me if I pronounce your name right. I said it a couple of times, but those two can see themselves build this too as well. So thanks, Orlando.
All right, of course. I'm glad that.
And they say Iona says that you smile too less. Can you smile a bit more, Orlando?
I'm
just
sorry
kidding.
if I'm not smiling.
No, I'm just kidding. She said that to me, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
We're gonna try and crack some jokes.
Yeah. I'm just trying focusing, but yeah, I'll try to smile a bit more. I know I can seem a little bit angry when I'm focused, but I'm really just focused. So thanks for presenting a great use case, Orlando. And I think what Orlando will show us now to you viewers out there, this is a PixieBrix live build. And this is much look forward to, because Orlando will show us how to scrape data from the web with PixieBrix. I know we have people looking forward for this. And so Orlando, let's see what you got for us.
Right, of course. Thanks for that comment. That made me smile in turn. So now I'm gonna scrape some tables, data from a table. I'm gonna run this on Wikipedia, but again, you can run this on whatever internal website you might have, or in your intranet, or you can run it on any page that's available to you and to your browser. And so let's go ahead and do that. So I have this Wikipedia page open up here, which is pretty cool because there you go, an HTML table that I can use as my as my experiment, so to speak. So I'm gonna right click, open PixieBrix again, and I will show you that this is the brick that I previously created that will allow me to export the data. What I want to do here is I want to remove this, and I'm going to remove this one too, so it's nice and clean. So let's go ahead and build this, right? So you might be wondering, how do I export in a nice way this data so that I can extract it or manipulate it and then do something, maybe save it as a file? Well, I'm glad you asked. We're going to run this as a quick bar. So a quick bar, and let me see if you cannot see my screen. I'll show you what a quick bar looks like in a second. But you add it as usual from the left menu and then create a quick bar. And then we're going to call this scrape data. And then I'm going to call it, actually, you know what I'm going to call it? I'm going to call it unders scrape data quick bar, because we like to customize things. And then I'm going to call it, again, the same, right? I'm going to save this. And then if I hit like a certain key on my keyboard, for me, it's like Windows key and Windows key, Shift and K, or, okay. So we're having a little difficulty here where it's not showing up. So never mind. I'm not going to show you the quick bar. Let's see if I can. Oh, there it is. Control K did it instead of Windows key K. I guess. So the trick here is that inside of Chrome, you can select the shortcuts that you want to use to toggle this quick bar, right? So if you go to Chrome extension shortcuts, and this is the URL, I think, Todd, you can share this in the chat. This is how you select what keys are being used to toggle the quick bar. So for me in Chrome, it's Control K. You can have it to set whatever you want. So going back to Wikipedia, Control K, and can you see the quick bar on my screen, Anders?
For sure.
All right. And as you can see here, I have multiple options that I can like navigate with my keyboard up and down. And this is how you trigger a quick bar. So let's go back and build this actually. So PixieBrix, under scrape data, quick bar. Let's add an extra brick. The brick that we're going to use is, it's the scrape data. And here it's called a table reader. So you go here and you type table and then reader. And it's this first brick called table reader. Again, I can call this step name. I can call it read data from my table. The output of this brick is going to be at table. And then all we got to do here is just select the table that we want to read data from. And the way I'm going to do this is using the blue button and manually target the table. And here I know it gets a little bit confusing, or it gets sometimes a little bit hard to click on the right table. The way I do it, I try to like click on the border of the table, and that allows me to like really select the table that I want. As you can see, it highlights on you see how I move around and the color change. I want to select the table, so I click this one, and then basically PixieBrix automatically detects that the CSS selector or jQuery selector for this table is table, and then the pseudo selector n child 15, right? So it's the 15th child of table. So with that being done, I can save this, and then I can close it just for a second, Control K on my keyboard or whichever shortcut you have, and then I select under scrape data quick bar, and it scraped the data. Now it's in the memory of PixieBrix. If I show you this once again with with the page editor open, I'm going to do Control K, under script data quick bar. And as you can see in real time in the data panel, the output of this brick is here at table, and then it's called records. This is the internal name that PixieBrix gave to my data. And here I have first name, last name, and age, Tinu Elejogun, age 14. And indeed, this matches the first row. And I have this for every single row. So now you're saying, okay, this is nice, but how can I get all this data into a file so that I can use it? Well, I'm glad you asked, or well, I answered before you asked, but
I was about to ask.
Yes, you go ahead and you add a new brick and you type CSV because you want to export this data as a CSV file. I'm going to add this brick. And here in the brick options, I can basically have name the file that I want to use to whatever I want. I'm going to leave it as exported, and then it's going to be a CSV file as it says here in the description. And then the only thing I need to do here is pretty much choose what data do I want to extract and put into a CSV file. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go and remember how I said you can use output variables from before? Well, this is table, and I want to use the records because there's 9 rows, right? And they have all nicely, the name of the column and the rows. So let's copy this by using this little icon here that copies the name of this variable, table records.
So you go back to the brick where you scrape the data from the table, and then you use the output variable called table, and then you add the records to that. Is that right?
That's right. So exactly like you said, I go back to the brick that reads the data. I click on output because as I showed you with the bar, you do Control K and you can run this. And then as you run it, it already runs. And also I didn't configure this brick here, but when you run it and you don't have this brick, it basically shows you the data in real time so that you know exactly which data you want to take to the next step by doing this. If I was running this extension without seeing the page editor, I would never know, unless I was some kind of like, I see the future, that table.records is the variable that I want. So again, I'm going to click this icon that copies the variable name, and I'm going to go here in the export as CSV brick, and I'm going to paste it as table.records, right? And I make sure it's a variable type of field, just to make sure. And then now I save it, and I'm going to show you how it works. So again, Control K, under script data quick bar, and now it's asking me, where do you want to save? I don't think you can see this on your screen, but it's asking me, where do you want to save this file? And it's actually exporting it to a CSV file, which I'm going to overwrite. And in fact, let's see if I can change my screen settings here real quickly. Let's see. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. Please don't be alarmed. And let's see if I can
that was even better. Now we can see you in a large portrait, Orlando. So it's much better than screen sharing.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. So now I have shared my whole screen. I guess that was a little gimmick with Teams. But I'm gonna open the file that I exported. It's in my documents somewhere. It's a CSV file. So let's go ahead and open it up. I use Notepad++, which is another tool that I recommend Windows developers to use. And as you can see, I have my CSV file with all of the rows from the CSV file right here. Sorry, all the rows from the table, rather, as a CSV file. So first name, last name, age, and they match exactly the data that was stored here on the HTML table on Wikipedia.
That's cool, Orlando. But where did you configure the output path? Maybe
of course.
Maybe I was just slow.
No, you're fine. So when I go back here in the extension under script data quick bar, so this is how I did it. In the export as CSV brick, I have a file name. I give it a file name that I want. I can call this unders table data. and then I configure the records to be stored under at table dot records, right? And I made sure it's the variable is this one, is a at, right? So I know that basically what's going to happen, this brick is going to read the previous brick's data and it's going to save it into understable data.csv. So save this again so I can show it again. Control K.
And can you say
It's the first.
when it gets saved
Yeah.
in what folder? Where is it placed?
Yeah. So if I hit this, you can see it's asking me where do you want to save it, and I just have a PixieBrix folder, and I click save. I replace it, and that's it. And then the data is there. It's in my computer, as I can show you again here. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome.
So
Cool.
could I, if I wanted to reconfigure, could I? But if I just wanted to have it saved in a folder, so say that I want to scrape a lot of tables, and I don't want to specify that every time. Is that possible?
To automatically save the file inside a specified folder, you have an option in Chrome where you can probably it's a Chrome option where you basically have a default folder. I have it set where it's always asking me where do you want to save the file, but by default Chrome saves all your file to your downloads folder. And if you change the download folder to be something else, you can save it on your desktop, you can save it in another drive, maybe a USB key drive, whatever you want. So yes, you can do that, but that's a Chrome option. It's not a PixieBrix option.
Cool. Thank you, Orlando. And if you think Orlando is presenting a very nice demo here, then you should give this video a thumbs up. That will really help us a lot. I will go in and give this video a thumbs up afterwards. So that is really nice to see, Orlando. And
thank you for having me.
And do you think these three things here, which one, if I'm a newbie, which one should I build first?
I think to get used to how PixieBrix works, I would probably start with either the scrape table or the highlight keywords tutorial, because I think those are the fastest and they give you a result immediately. Also, if you do these two tutorials here, you're basically able to not only learn about context menu, right? So for example, here, now that I shared my whole screen, well, I removed the extension, but let's see. Here, like on GitHub, you can see this is the context menu. This is what it looks like. There's this little icon that shows this is the PixieBrix extension you're gonna run. It triggers this, pull request, submit, and then it does it. But yeah, to go back to your question, I would start with the highlight keyword tutorial, then I would do the scrape tables, and then I would do the GitHub one from these ones. But if you actually go to like docs.pixiebrix.com and you start quick start guide, there's an even nicer tutorial here to show you how to build your first extension and workflow. And you can follow it. It's very well detailed with screenshot text. And then you basically do this, and there's 2 levels, and that will give you a really good understanding of how to use PixieBrix. And there's much more goodies inside our documentation portal. And as usual, if you join the community on Slack, I will be there to greet you, to talk to you, to help you. And so is many other people from our team at PixieBrix. We're a small but very active team. So feel free to drop in, say hello, ask questions, collaborate. And I hope I see you on there on the community.
For sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure you will. And I will start building. Can you go back to your slide deck? Yeah, here. I will start building the highlight keywords for my job agent. So whenever I get these job posts up, I need to highlight the actual phrases that I'm looking for, so I can easily sort these job posts that I want to look at. So I'll try.
Awesome.
I'll try with that, and then I will. If I have any problems, I will post them in the Slack, Orlando.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks for doing the live stream with me, for asking super nice questions. And yeah, if you have any question, again, let me know on Slack. I'm always there trying to help you. But yeah, I really appreciate you having me on the live stream today. Hope everyone in the chat enjoyed what we built. If there are any questions from the chat, I think now it's a good time to ask them, right?
Yeah,
and answer them.
maybe I just ask Todd if he could post a Slack link again. He just did. Thank you, Todd. And it would be nice if you have some final questions. Otherwise, I have a few questions for you, Orlando. So
All right, sure.
how would you say that? Because that's something I'm very interested in. How would you say that a normal day at PixieBrix looks like for you?
Yeah, so usually a day at PixieBrix, it's fairly standard for anyone who works in tech. You get up from bed, brush your teeth and shower or whatever, and then you open your computer and you say hello to your friends and coworkers on Slack. We use Slack internally for both the community and our internal work. And then we do some sort of like stand up. And there is where I get to know exactly what everyone's going to be working on today. And then I'm going to give my side of the updates where I say what I'm going to work on. And then I basically like interface with my coworkers, and I just really work and have meetings, and we make sure that everything we do has really like the PixieBrix stamp of approval on it. And then around the 5:30, I usually take a break and go to the gym. Or go for cycling around the lake around here, which is my favorite sport to do. And then then I come home and relax. And sometimes I chat with people from work after we have a little bit of a fun time after hours. But yeah, it's a fairly standard day for sure.
And you say that you log into Slack and say hello to your fellow colleagues. Does that mean that PixieBrix is fully remote?
Yeah, PixieBrix is a fully remote team. We are blessed to be remote in these times, but yeah, I love it. Not having to like get ready every morning to go to the office. Although I do like spending time at coffee stores or coffee shops or like co-working spaces once or twice a week, where I just go out, there by my own accord. I decide to go there just to interact with other humans face to face. I think the human interaction part of remote working is still super important. Just exchange some words with people face to face, but it's just my preference. No one forces me to go out if I didn't want to, right? Or I assume if you live somewhere really remote, maybe you want to not have to go to the office. I think having a remote job is really like a perk. And I've been doing it personally since 2013, so I'm not new to this. But now with the whole pandemic situation, like more and more companies are doing the remote work situation.
Cool.
So yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So you haven't met any of your colleagues face to face yet?
Well, we do a lot of like this, right? Like camera, like Zoom, Google Meeting, Teams, whatever you want to use. But no, I have never touched them, physically, or shake their hands or hug them or whatever. No, I have never had a chance to do that. If they want to come here to Austin, I'm glad to have everyone over, and we can go have some barbecue, and we can go like walking and hiking. There's a lot of things we can do here in Austin. I'm not a huge fan of airplane travel. I don't know. I just kind of like decided that also it's not very carbon friendly. So yeah, I only travel by airplane when really needed. And other than that, I just, bike around. I love biking. I have 6 bikes. So yeah,
Cool.
It's pretty awesome.
And Todd, if you're still there in the chat, that was an invitation for barbecue in Austin. You can just come visiting Orlando here.
That's right.
We have what did you say, Orlando?
I was saying if anyone is living here in Austin or around, I'm happy to show you like the good things we have here in Austin, Texas. Whether it's food, like art or bars, whatever you're into. Drop me a message in Slack or follow me on Twitter, and then we can make it happen.
And actually, the PixieBrix official account is writing in the chat right now, Orlando, yes to team retreat in Austin.
Awesome.
And then we have a few RPA questions, which I doubt Orlando know a lot about. So I think we will leave them for a future RPA stream. I can say to you, Iona, that we will have Lahiro explaining document understanding to us in the near future. So that question will be answered in that stream. And regarding RPA will be overtaken by AI, well, I don't really know. I'm more like a user and a teacher of end users, so I might not be the right person to ask about that. So, but thanks for the great questions, and yeah. So, Orlando, thanks for taking your time. We went over. I hope you're okay. You don't have a meeting afterward here that you have to postpone.
That's right. Yeah, I'm good. Not for another couple of hours, I hope. But yeah, I think I haven't checked my schedule for the morning. Usually we start at 9 a.m. and today's 8. Right now it's 8:10 a.m. So I can have some time to go and drink some water and have a little like internal brainstorm before starting work. But thank you so much for having me on the stream. This was awesome. I'm really glad we did this. I got to know you better. I got to talk and to show what we can do with PixieBrix. I got to like show you some stuff about the extension Grammarly. I got to show you a lot of cool things, and maybe in the future we'll do another one of these. But I think tomorrow there's another live stream, right, with someone else from using PixieBrix, right?
Yeah, and actually, sorry if I was a little bit, but the whole chat is coming to Austin now, Orlando, for a big barbecue.
All right. I will make sure to like start a grill out here and let me know if you're a vegetarian because we have vegetarian options for those who don't eat meat. I personally love eating meat, not because I like to herd animals, but because I just think it's delicious. But that's a conversation for when you guys come here.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah,
So thanks for everyone out there joining the stream. Thanks to you, Orlando. Thanks for showing us around and answering all the questions that I got and the viewers had. And that was really nice to see.
of course. Thanks for your time, and I hope to see you on the PixieBrix Slack, or at least give it a try to PixieBrix if you can. The extension is free to use, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much.
Bye bye.